Do you think you are too small to make an impact? Today, we want to say to you something quite obvious, something that probably most of you in this room already knows. Every day, all around the world, each of us, voluntarily or involuntarily, has to deal with a social issue. It could be, I don't know, a homeless sleeping on a pavement on the road when you are going to your office. It could be one of your young daughter or son who cannot find a proper job. Or it could be also one of your relatives or friends who are suffering from some mental illness, needing for a special support. Believe me, the number of examples, the list of examples, is huge. So, saying that, it is not something very new to all of us, that the number of people who are currently supporting some social causes around the world is increasing every day, every year. So, let's make a brief survey now. How many of you are currently supporting a social cause in your life, or you did it? It could be being part of a non-profit organization, or even just donating some money to a non-profit organization. Raise your hand if you did something like this, or if you are doing something like this. Okay, thank you. This result is not so far from what we discovered from some recent researches. In 2015, a research showed that 1 in 3 people all around the world donated to a charity, donated some money to a charity, and that 1 on 4 volunteered. So this is a very impressive result, and this is the picture in 2015. But if we move our perspective to a different level, to Europe, and for example to Germany, in Germany we have around 600,000 NGOs. But what is interesting is that 40% of these NGOs was born after the year 2000. And what about Italy? If we take the most recent report about non-profit organization, we can see that in Italy, in between the year 2001 and the year 2010, the number of non-profit organizations increased almost 30%. And even more important, the number of volunteers increased over 40%.
And now I'll give you another quite obvious piece of information. In recent times, we are observing an increasing number of people who decided to run their own business. So let's make another brief survey. Raise your hand if you have already decided to run your own business, or if you will seriously consider that if you had the chance to. Raise your hand. I'm part of this survey. Good. Good number. So the most significant aspect of this trend is that it is made of people of all ages, all incomes, both employed and unemployed. Probably someone will say that this trend is mainly led by the category of young unemployed people who's looking at entrepreneurship and self-employment as the only way of salvation.
But what some recent studies made about a sample of thousands and thousands of employees, so people with a permanent job around the world, are showing something different, a different scenario. In particular, at global level, we can see that the number of people with an employment who is interested in dropping his own job to run his own business or to become self-employed is 57% of the entire population surveyed. And 28% of the people surveyed is currently planning to drop the job and become a self-employed or entrepreneurs. And if we talk about Europe, this number is even higher. The number of people who are seriously considering the idea to become self-employed and entrepreneurs is higher. And in Italy, probably something that is interesting to us today, the number of people who already planned to start to become self-employed and to start a business by their own is even higher than the average in Europe and at global level.
So, on the one hand, we are observing an increasing number of people supporting social causes. And on the other hand, we are observing an increasing number of people who decided to run their own business. What is probably less obvious is that these two quite obvious trends are somehow linked to each other.
And in our opinion, the connection between these two trends lies on three strong assumptions. The first assumption is that we all want to improve the society and the community we live in. Second assumption is that we all want to be the makers of our own lives. And thirdly, one important thing is that in our current society, profit is key to sustainability.
And how can these three assumptions live together concretely? Our answer is social impact entrepreneurship.
Yes, that's the news. You are not so bad if you try to make money while making a social impact business.
And in order to validate this thesis, we want to tell you three stories coming from our global network, which are in this storybook, on how people from different countries, different backgrounds, and different motivations became successful impact entrepreneurs. And these stories may be about you that are sitting there, you that may have a question which has been buzzing around in your head and that maybe has brought you here. The first story explains how personal engagement to a social cause can represent the motivation to start a social business. This is the story of Anton, founder of Daycape, an impact business from Stockholm. At a young age, Anton was temporarily diagnosed as being within the autistic spectrum. This experience left him with an understanding of how daunting daily tasks can be for children with autism.
Can you imagine how daunting could it be? Children with autism have incredible difficulties in planning their own tasks daily, and they need for a special support to understand what they have to do next.
When Anton was a child, he loved Spider-Man. Inspired by his childhood love for Spider-Man, Anton went on to found Daycape, an interactive digital image calendar that helps autistic children to plan their day, collaborating with family, teachers, and friends.
So, Daycape is a mobile app that displays very simple images supporting children to understand what they have to do at certain times. It is a very simple idea, but with an incredible impact. Consider that nowadays it is estimated that 1 in 68 children around the world are diagnosed with autistic disorder, and this number is increasing.
This is a way to transform autism into a superpower, Anton said. That's why I think Daycape needs to exist. Just like Peter Parker, these children struggle with powers they don't understand. But with the right help from family and friends, they can discover their own superpowers. It doesn't matter who you are. Anyone can put on a cape and prepare for a super day. The second story is about Francesco Ardito, an experienced manager from Torino who found the right recipe to combine a business opportunity with a social impact. This is also a win-win story where the participation from citizens really makes the difference. This is the story of Last Minute Sotto Casa, an impact business from Torino. Every evening that Francesco passed through his neighborhood bakery shop window, he saw unsold pizza thrown away. It is not fair, he thought. While in the street this bakery sells pizza expiring soon, in the same street there should be many people who would love to buy pizza at a discounted price, he realized.
And that's how the business idea was born. Francesco found a business opportunity in the food waste problem. He connects retailers with citizens, and so with potential customers in the same neighborhood.
Since 2015, Francesco and his small team have been working hard to spread their business through citizens and to demonstrate that making social impact is not only a matter for NGOs and cooperatives. Social impact can generate profits, Francesco says, and profits can attract the interest of multinationals.
Yes, you heard well, multinationals. That's what's happening now to Francesco and his company. An important group, French group, decided to invest in his idea and business model.
Nowadays, Francesco's team is made of 9 professionals and is growing day by day, as well as the community of people who is regularly using his mobile app is. However, it is not enough, Francesco says. Citizens are the power of this anti-waste process, which save 3 tons fresh food each month. Without people using the platform, no impact can be reached. And the last story is about Prasun Kumar, a talented Indian architect who decided to devote his skills to solve one of the most pressing global problems, homelessness. This is the story of Billion Bricks, an impact business from Singapore. During his international career in architecture, he noted that although Asian cities are growing extremely fast and are generating an abundance of new wealth, the quality of life for many is actually going down. The huge shift in populations moving from rural to urban areas has created a housing crisis that the world doesn't know how to solve. Thousands of people lose their lives because they either live on the streets or in such poor conditions that they are unable to withstand something like harsh rain, heat, or cold, Prasun said.
And that's the reason why Prasun decided to found Billion Bricks. He designed shelters and infrastructure solutions, and he provided them to homeless and vulnerable people all around the world. These solutions are scalable and sustainable, so they allow poor communities to get out of poverty, to take ownership and pride, and to unlock potential for change.
Prasun thinks solving the complex housing problem of 1 billion people cannot happen on a project-to-project basis. There is a lot of work that needs to be done to do it right and bring systemic change. And we don't think a single organization like ours, or even a consortium of organizations, can solve it. It needs a movement. But the miles to go don't sway Prasun from his dream of a world without homelessness. Until we are able to achieve our vision, nothing can stop us.
These were 3 stories of the same book. A global book where any one of us can write the next page. And we say that because of the following 3 reasons. Business and entrepreneurship are not just stuff for Donald Trump-like people. Secondly, what really matters in developing a social impact business is not just a matter of skills and competencies, but it's especially how much you believe about the social cause that you want to defend, that you want to support. And the last but not the least, you can think about your role in the social impact business starting from now.
And now it's time to open the letter that you received at the desk. Please open it. Inside, you can find a small action that you can take right now to become an impact maker and create a better world. So, do you still think you are too small to make an impact?